We are entering a new era of college football, and for the first time, 12 teams will be represented in the college football playoff. We have heard about this for a few years at this point, but in 2024, we will finally see it come to fruition. With the new rules, many people will be paying more attention to the group of 5 schools, or rather, non-Power 4 schools. The highest ranked non-Power 4 conference champion will receive the 12th and final spot in the playoff. For more casual viewers, they haven't really gotten a chance to see some of the schools up close, but there are some incredible teams that have not been well represented by the committee, and today we are going to be looking at the top 5 teams that I think have a legitimate shot to earn that final college football playoff berth. But hey guys, if you guys enjoy NFL Draft, NFL, and college football content, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, check out my Patreon, which I will leave linked below, where for $5 a month you will get early access to my prospect spotlights, power rankings, exclusive prospect interviews, my complete draft guide, and much more. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Before we get into it though, there are a lot of teams that I know a lot of people are going to be asking about in the comment sections, and only 5 could make the final cut. So teams like App State, Fresno State, James Madison, they were all in the mix, but just ended up missing the top 5. But let's go ahead and start with my number 5 team, and that is the UNLV Rebels. The Rebels are coming off one of their best seasons in school history. They finished 9-5 in their first year under head coach Barry Odom, which was their most wins in a season since 1984. This is certainly a program that is on the rise, and they made a bowl game for the first time since 2013, and things definitely seem to be going up in Vegas. This team didn't just sit back though. While Jaden Maeva left and took the Georgia spot, this team I thought made some really impressive transfer portal additions that I think could be immediate impact players. Matthew Sluka is one of the most intriguing quarterbacks in the country to me. He is a dynamic, dual-threat quarterback that was incredible on the ground for Holy Cross, and he's hoping to be a star for this Rebels offense. They also completely boosted up their secondary by adding cornerback Tony Grimes, safety Jalen Catalon, and they made a few smaller moves in the secondary here and there. If Catalon and Grimes can stay healthy, this secondary should take a major jump up. While the team as a whole last year was not amazing on the defensive end, I think a lot of these new additions are expected to be really big for them. The big difference maker for this UNLV team though is wide receiver Ricky White, a player who dominated last year and was one of the nation's top wide receivers. With more stability at the quarterback position, year 2 under a good head coach, and some more defensive depth, I think UNLV will be right in the mix for the Mountain West Championship and a college football playoff berth. My number 4 team is one that I think people are heavily starting to underrate, and it may be the most underrated team in all of college football, and that's the Tulane Green Wave. Look, I get it. This team had a lot of turnover this offseason. Willie Fritz, who has been the head coach since 2016, left for Houston. Michael Pratt went to the draft. Chris Brazzell and Jaquan Jackson both went their separate ways. This team did see a lot of roster turnover, and yet I still think they're a contender in the American Conference. To start, they made an excellent head coaching hire by hiring John Sumrall. Sumrall has gone 23-4 in 2 seasons coaching at Troy and has put some really great teams on both sides of the ball, and now he's going to a bigger program in Tulane where I think he's going to see the same success, particularly on the ground. Troy finished in the top 10 last year of rushing, and now he has Mekhi Hughes, who is a dynamic back to work with. Losing Michael Pratt could hurt this program a little bit. Pratt has been very good for Tulane and one of the best quarterbacks in program history, but they brought in former 5-star quarterback Ty Thompson. Thompson was at Oregon, being the backup to Bo Nix, and was really never given an opportunity to play. Now, he's going to be the starter for the Green Wave, and the expectations should be pretty high. They did lose some wide receiver talent as well in Jaquan Jackson and Chris Brazzell, as we mentioned, but they added Mario Williams from USC to be that dynamic slot weapon, and Shaz Preston from Alabama, who both could be major moves for this program. Defensively, it should look mostly the same, but I think some of the moves they made on the offensive side of the ball make them a legit contender for the American yet again, and I think them and my number 3 team are going to be right in the mix, And let's just talk about that number 3 team. My number 3 team is the Memphis Tigers. Memphis is another team that has been consistently very competitive in the American Conference, and I see no reason why that changes this year. Seth Hennigan has been one of the most accurate and consistent quarterbacks in the country, and he's back for another year under center. Rock Taylor, his number 1 weapon, is also back, and he's expected to have a monster year for Memphis. Really, the reason why I think they have the slight edge over the Green Wave is consistency. Most of this team is returning. While the O-line saw some movement, the team is returning a lot of the same talent, and to me, that should be enough to give them the conference. Under Ryan Silverfield, they have been 500 or better every single season, and they have all the talent in the world to get it done yet again. Memphis always has elite athletes, and you're returning most of the same squad, and you have one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the country. That's why I give them the slightest edge over Tulane to win in the American, but I think that race is going to be very close up until the conference championship. My number 2 team is another team in the Mountain West Conference, and that is going to be the Boise State Broncos. This team had a remarkable turnaround to finish their season in 2023. They started the season 3-4, but went on to finish the year with an 8-5 record, made a bowl game, and beat UNLV to win the Mountain West last season. This team had a lot of turmoil after firing Andy Avalos halfway through the season, but this team has a lot of potential to be one of the best teams in the country. It starts with the run game. Ashton Gianti was the highest graded running back in all of college football last year according to PFF, and now he has the backfield all to himself. It's the first full year with Spencer Danielson at the helm, but they have weapons to get excited about. Former 4-star quarterback Malachi Nelson is going to be the new starter after transferring from USC, and he has some very interesting dual threat abilities that I think are very exciting, especially with a run-heavy offense. Chris Marshall is a former 5-star JUCO transfer who is going to be the number 1 wide receiver on this team. This team has weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and with a dynamic rushing attack, I give them the edge over UNLV in the conference, and I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the country because their offense is going to move so well. I'm really excited to see the product Boise State can put on the field, but number 1 should come as no surprise. It's the Liberty Flames. Liberty was the best non-Power 4 school last year, and I see no reason why they can't repeat. For one, Conference USA is an absolute mess, and they have one of the easiest conference schedules in all of America. But on top of that, this team has weapons everywhere. They lost some guys to the portal, including wide receiver CJ Daniels, but they made some moves to replace them. This is a team that also heavily relies on the ground game, and with Quentin Cooley and Caden Salter back in the mix, this should be a really easy schedule for Liberty to win each game. It's a cakewalk, and I think this team has made enough moves to be one of the top teams yet again. They have an extremely quarterback-friendly offense, and I think Salter will put up incredible numbers yet again, and Liberty will be that final 12th spot in the college football playoff. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Let me know who you guys think I missed out on. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.